Hello, and I believe we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another stream from CodeSandbox. My name is Adewale Abati, developer advocate at CodeSandbox. And today I have with me Lazar.
Hello,
Hello.
viewers. How are you?
I'm good, but I'm sure everyone else is as well.
Exactly.
How are you
Yeah.
doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much for having me. I think this is going to be a fun little hangout.
I hope so. I am looking forward to it as well. So please introduce yourself, Lazar.
Yeah, I'm
Let's
Lazar
let's get this
Nikolov.
party started.
I am a core member of Chakra UI. It is a React UI framework. It is super cool. It is the best out there. And yeah, today Ace, my buddy, invited me to hang out with you guys and do some cool little chakra magic. So yeah,
Awesome.
that's why we're here.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for stopping by. I am looking forward to building something exciting today. And I think the first thing would be what do we have to build today? What do you have for us today?
Awesome. Yeah, if you can show my screen.
Yeah, definitely.
There we go. So this is what we're going to be building, right? So this is Figma. I just like hide everything so we don't get distracted. So it is an excerpt from the System 22 UI kit. It's a
Yeah.
pretty cool kit, but we'll be building this with Chakra UI. It is a chat little window application. It's not like a full-blown app, right? We only have an hour. So yeah, we are going to be building this piece right here. And I guess we can even start breaking it down, or like yeah, actually, there are people that might not even know what Chakra UI is. So
Right.
let's introduce Chakra UI first.
Yeah,
So
that's a good start.
yeah, I'm going to open up this is Figma, sorry about that. I'm gonna open up my browser here, open up the website. Let me get rid of this. There we go. Okay, so chakraui.com with a dash. Chakra UI is a React UI framework. By the looks of it, it looks like a component library, but it's actually a lower level design system implementation, right? So you don't just get your buttons and inputs and modals and everything. You get a
Yeah.
full-blown implementation for your custom design system, right? So if you're it doesn't matter if you're a small company or a small product, or you're as big as, I don't know, for example, Ethereum, right? You can build your own design system within Chakra and then use all of the components that come with Chakra
Yeah.
without thinking, how should I make, the button right now? It's already there, it's already hooked, it's already configured by you, how it should look like. So yeah, you get consistency throughout your whole app. Aside from that, we're
I
also
wonder
big
if you
on, yeah,
sorry to interrupt. I wonder if you get the question like how is this similar or different from like Tailwind, Bootstrap and the likes? Why should I use Chakra UI? Like what does it do for me specifically in that angle?
exactly. Yeah. So I get that question on a daily basis, to be honest.
Right.
And yeah, Chakra UI, how it differs from, for example, from Tailwind, it's the technology itself, right? So Chakra is built on top of Emotion. It's JS, right? It's JavaScript library. It's React library. You also have a Vue.js library as well, but we'll be building with the React one today. And on the other side, Tailwind is a CSS framework, right? So you get the utility classes from Tailwind and you apply those classes, but you don't have behavior implementation. For example, when the button, is clicked, what do you do? Or like you have a drop down or
Right.
yeah, all of these things, with Tailwind, you don't get the functionality, you only get the looks. With Chakra, you get both of them. But yeah, it's totally different technology, right?
That
For
makes sense.
example, with I don't know, with Material UI, one of the older frameworks out there, the more mature ones. The difference is that, for example, in Chakra UI, we do have like a lower number of components. We don't have as much as components as Material UI, for example. But the idea is that we've built, like, we, instead of building a whole bucket of components, we focused on actually building the core to be more extensible, right? So you can bring your own design tokens and semantic tokens and all of that, so you can configure Chakra to be truly yours, and then use it throughout the app. So that's why we don't have that much components, because we don't really care, and we don't really care about having quantity in the component sense. We care about building a quality design system implementation, right? So that is the difference. If you want something more customizable and more to reflect your brand as much as possible, then Chakra is a better option. So yeah.
And even for components that are not available, I can always extend and build mine, right, to just match my needs and
exactly.
stuff.
Yeah, so
Super
Chakra
cool.
UI builds, like, it works on top of, for example, styled props, right? So there is a factory function which you can use to wrap any other third-party component. Let's say there is no date picker in Chakra UI, but you can install any date picker packages that are available on npm. You can wrap the root with the factory function, and then you can move on and implement your own styling using Chakra style
Chakra
props,
UI.
which later gets compiled into CSS, and you get the
Wow,
looks. So yeah,
that is
that's
amazing.
about it.
Before we get started, I would definitely like to say hi to people in chat. Hello, Philip. Hello, Junior. Hello, Anka, Indra, Danilo. It's amazing to have everyone stopping by to join us today. But with that said, we'll definitely move on to the next one. Let's start building.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you showed us what we're building a few minutes ago. So yeah, let's get started building this.
Yeah, we're going to be building a simple chat interface,
Yeah.
right? So just by the looks of it, I think it's better if we break down the design first, so we know what we're going to build, and then
Right.
proceed with the building, right? So we have this little window. We can see that there is a background, an image background at the bottom, but at the center we have this little a block or like a container, and we can see that we have the chat history, the chat at the top, and we have a little form at the bottom. We can see that there's a content and the send button for sending messages, right?
Yeah.
So as we can see, the flow of this layout is vertical. So every time I am working on a certain UI, I am always taking a top to bottom approach, right? Looking at the top, what are the sections that jump out? And that's how we can see that this is the cutoff point right here where we have the divider. That means we have two children, right? We have a vertical layout with two children. That is the chat, and that is the form at the bottom, right? So then we can get inside the chat and see what's going on. Again, a vertical layout where we have the messages. There are some dividers as well, and that's about it, right? The messages can be different. As opposed to, for example, the form at the bottom, we have a horizontal layout, right? The input and the button are at the same level. So we have a horizontal layout inside, and then we can see that the differences between there are differences between the messages based on who sent them, and also based on what they are. So this is a text message, for example, and this is a
file.
Yeah, a file, a media message, whatever you come up with a name of it. So yeah, even if we look at the messages, like one message, right? For example, this one, we can see in this case that we have, again, a horizontal layout, right? We have the avatar, and then we have a vertical layout, which is the info at the top and the chat bubble, right? So it always helps breaking down the design before you actually start implement it. But I think we are ready to jump into it. We are going to be jumping here and from time to time back to the design so we can see some of the stuff. But yeah, I have the project dashboard right here, and as you can see, I already played with some stuff. But we are going to start from the very beginning and create an actual new project, right? So I can click on the new project at the top, and I'll probably use a Next.js. Right, so we are going to, this is fine, the CodeSandbox template next.js, and I'll just create a new fork. So what is this going to do, Ace?
So basically, once you do this, we're creating a new repository for you on GitHub, and you can start building your project instantly. Everything you need to do is already integrated into the workflow, creating a new branch, running your environment, and you can share each of these links with anyone. And I was just going to ask, can you like please share the link to this project so that I can also just join and watch from my end as well?
Awesome, let's actually do that. So I guess it's going to be the share link,
Yeah.
right?
Just,
And
mhm.
everyone with access can edit.
Right access. Yeah. So I
Okay,
currently
so
don't have right access, so I'll only be able to view. But
okay,
yeah, I can just join in and see what you're doing.
yeah. If you want me to add right access, let me know. I'm not sure how I'm gonna do that, but you'll help me out.
Yeah, that would most likely be from GitHub.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'm also
Then
going to
we
share the link. So I'm going to share the link in chat as well. So if anyone wants to join us, they can also just uh see the project as well.
awesome. Okay, here we are, right? One thing that we need to do, for example, this is the preview at the bottom, as we can see that we have the ordinary Next.js project. We need to, now we actually need to install Chakra. So
Right.
I'm going to create a new tab, go back to the Chakra UI website, and actually pull this install script. I don't need to type it by heart, you know. So here's the project setup. I guess we're okay. Oh, this is the GitHub app that I need to install in order to deploy, right?
No, what the GitHub app does for is helps you create like easy PRs. So you have like a development environment and preview for each branch or PR that you're sending. But what you need to do now is just go to the DevTools icon on the top right.
Okay, so I can close this, right?
Yeah, you can close this. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Then
the
we can
DevTools
create
icon
a
is
new
there.
terminal.
Yep.
Awesome. There we are. Is this using, it's okay, it's an npm.
Yeah.
So I'm going to, instead of the yarn one, I'm going to just do npm install. And then just do save, so our package JSON gets updated. Right, and this is going to install all of the needed packages. As we can see, we have the Chakra UI React, Emotion React and Styled, and also Framer Motion. Okay, there we go.
Nice. We're done.
Yeah, and now we can actually start installing and setting up Chakra UI. So let's go to the pages. We have the underscore app tsx. In here, we want to fetch the Chakra provider. I'm going to remove a lot of the stuff right now because we're not going to be needing, for example, we don't need the API, we don't need the styles. We'll just get rid of that. And also the Vercel SVG. Is that, yeah, we can delete that. And now let's pull from Chakra UI React, we can pull the Chakra provider. This is a React context, basically, for all of you who
Right.
know React, that brings all of the functionality and theming into your app. So we are just basically wrapping our page component with the Chakra provider. And what is I clicked on something. Okay. What else we need to do right now is actually start defining our theme. And the way that Chakra websites are themed is by providing a theme object in which we can, define the colors and spacing and fonts and
Right.
whatever we need to change, and use
Mhm.
that object, basically import it and provide it to the Chakra provider, right?
So
So
basically, anytime I'm building, I have to use the Chakra provider as the root layout so that I'm wrapping the entire application in the Chakra provider, right?
yeah, exactly. So yeah, this is what brings the styles into your app.
Roger.
So let's create at the top level. I don't know. Let's create a theme folder,
Mhm.
and inside we can create a little index.ts file. So within this theme file, in order to define the theme, we can import a specific method called extend theme with a lowercase e. Right, we can create our theme by using the extend theme. By the way, let me know if this is readable. I believe I can bump
Yeah,
up
so
the
I'm
font a
also
little bit.
following you in my browser, so I'm just seeing everything you're doing. But yeah, I think that is a good zoom.
Awesome. Yeah. And we can probably, yeah, there we go. Awesome. This is our theme.
Right.
And then we can just do export default theme, right? So we can get this theme object back into our app TSX and pass it to the provider. We can live without that, without a custom provider, without a custom theme. And you know what? Let's just see how everything looks like. Okay, we're going to remove this, and I don't know, let's import the button component from Chakra UI React, and we can also add the button. Everything will work nicely. I'm gonna close this, reload everything, I believe. Yeah, there we go.
Yes.
So
Nice.
no errors, no nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, let me see if I can minimize this.
Even the button already has like a very nice style with the over effect, click effect.
Exactly. Yeah, the default style is pretty chill in React, but in Chakra, but we're gonna do better. Okay, so here is the theme. As we mentioned, we are going to import the theme within our app TSX, and then just do theme equals theme, and there we go. Nothing changes, but we have a window of opportunity to bring our own styles right now. And the other thing that we also need to do is, and this is specifically for Next.js, is actually overwrite the underscore document.tsx file. And I'm just going to paste this here. It is the standard Next.js document, but it also adds a color mode script.
Right, is that for switching to light to dark mode?
It's for switching the, basically the color mode, light and dark and everything like that.
Awesome.
So we have the basic setup already done, right? We have, we're done here. We have the provider. We are linking our custom theme, and there's nothing else to do here. This is our theme, so we'll be spending most of the time here and in our page. So let's go back to the design. I think we can start by, and as we need, we can go back and, do basically enrich our theme, provide our colors and everything. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay, let me open up here. Hey, Esther is here. Hi, Esther.
Hello, Esther.
Let's open up the page, and we're going to start with the vertical stack. And as I mentioned, we have a vertical layout, right? So this is the vertical stack. There we go. Actually, yeah, this is going to be the topmost layer, right? We should not be looking just at this. We need to be looking at the whole screen, including the image as well, right? So in order to achieve that, we're going to be setting the width to full. Now, this is a shorthand property, right? Let me bring this back. There we go. So VStack, what does that mean? VStack is a component that comes from the Chakra UI/React package. It is essentially a div with display set to flex. And since it's a vertical stack, the flex direction is set to column. That's about it. But since it's a Chakra component, we are able to provide our style props here as component props in React. So width equals full, we'll actually set the width of the of this div to 100%. And if you don't like W, you can also do it with. And yeah, we also have TypeScript support, so you can see all of the styled properties that you can add. So let's just keep it with W. Then we'll add Then we'll add a height. And we're going to set this instead of full is 100%. We actually want the height to be at the whole screen, right? So we are going to do 100 VH or viewport height points. Okay, now let's see if I set the background. I don't know. Let's set the background to red 300. We should see something. Let's see. Maybe it needs an element now. Let's bring back the button.
Right.
Okay, here's the button and we'll say hello. There we go. As you can see, the red background is the actual div, the V stack that we're working on. And inside we have the button. Awesome. So
is there a reason the button is centralized by default?
Yeah, in vertical stack, yeah. The default is like the justification is at the top, or like flex starts, right?
Yeah.
And the alignment is at the center.
Okay.
Yeah, we can actually change that. For example, we can say align items equals flex end. Let's reload. And there we go. We see that the alignment is now on the far right, or the flex end.
Yeah.
Right? If, for example, we are opening the app from a country that writes right to left, Arabic, and
that makes
one of the
sense.
Arabic countries, the button is going to be on the left side. So that is flex end, and it's really important. So let's continue. We have, as we can see, we have some padding around the actual window. So let's add that. I'm gonna remove the background. I'll keep the button so we can see where we are. Okay, so I'm going to set the padding to 10, for example. And 10 means 40.
Why is that?
One unit from the spacing system equals 4 pixels.
Okay.
Yeah, so P equals 1 is not 1 pixel. It's just 4 pixels, right? So that is that's how pixels. Like, yeah, so 10 is like 10 multiplied by 4, 40 pixels. Yeah, it's a design. That's how, for example, many of the design systems are implemented, just by providing these values for spacing, right? So when we design stuff, we don't want to think about, hey, should I add this as 16 pixels or 17 pixels? No nitpicking here. We have a value that's 16. If we don't, maybe 18 is the closest, so we'll use the closest value, which is 18. So yeah, that's about it. What else? There is a there is a notion of spacing that we can also use, but we'll circle back on that later. And yeah, because we want everything to be the center, we'll just do align items center and justify content. There we go, justify content to center. So now the button should be at the center. There we go. I'm not sure. I think there's like an issue with the hot reload, but yeah, we'll just like refresh.
Yeah, I think there is. Yeah.
Might be some next issue. Okay, so this is how we built basically the whole website, right? Everything is going to be at the center, and the height of the VStack is the full screen, whichever however tall the screen is.
Just the entire length.
So yeah, so we can now go back, for example, to the theme and start adding some stuff, right? We have an image that we need to upload. First, we need to set the background to that image. And I believe here we can upload some stuff. How can we upload some
just
stuff to the public?
I think just right clicking should do that for you.
We can do new file, new directory.
1 second.
Or can I like drag? Maybe it's here.
No, it is down there. You can. I do not have. Can you give me right access to the repository? So you can either open in VS Code and you just upload directly using your VS Code locally, or you can right click on the Explorer and upload files. Can you try Control Alt F? Yeah. on your keyboard. You're using a MacBook, yeah.
Yeah, so Control,
Alt F.
Alt and F. No, Control,
Nothing?
Option and F, right? Nope.
Something just happened. I have no idea what.
Yeah. Let me add you on the
Okay.
on here.
Hello, Bina. How's it going? Hello, Carl Wack. Hello, Roberts. Thank you for joining the stream.
Okay, and what was your GitHub username?
ACEQID.
There we go.
Nice.
So while we actually fix that, I guess we can move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to go back to the theme. And in here, we want to, first we need to define the global styles, right? So, you know what? I'm just gonna copy paste this whole block and then we can go through it. Here is the global styles definition. We have the, and what global styles means is that, yeah, this is going to be applied to basically to every page. And this is how I imagined the background would switch, right? Based on the dark and the light mode. But in order to use the mode, we actually need to import it. So we're going to import mode from the Chakra UI theme tools package. That's also automatically installed. And yeah, the props is any. We're going to keep it at that. And this is how we can add global styles. Now, aside from the global styles, because this is a design system, we can override the default colors, for example. And in order to do that, as you can see, we have a certain gray color, right? We don't actually want that for our, in our case, we'll just go colors, and then we can provide our gray color values. I'm not going to write these by hand, so these
back
are
to the upload. I just realized I also don't have the files. Can you try dragging them into the folder, into the editor?
Yeah, let's actually try that.
Yeah,
I mean
that works on my end.
Okay, we have 3 files. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Sweet. Nice. Okay. Wait a minute. Since we all also get, already done that, we can save. We can refresh, and we can see that the actual, yeah, that the actual background is positioned, right? And can we actually see this in like a larger window? I believe this is the
that button. Yes, sir.
There we go. Here's the app, and as we start to build it out, we'll see the contents in the middle. Awesome. All right, we'll keep it at this. And this is how we defined our gray colors, and we can also bring our own, I called it brand colors, right? Because, for example, in this case, the blue color, I consider that as the brand color. So this is the brand color scheme. Sorry, color scale. Then we also need to define the fonts, right? So we have the colors. Let's also add the fonts as well. And same thing. We open up the fonts and we can define the fonts inside. There are 3 fonts by default in, or 3 types of fonts in Chakra UI. That is the heading, the body, and the mono font, in case we want to write some code. And because we have the base imported here, what I do is I'm going to import the default theme as base, because our custom theme is called theme. So that way I can provide my custom fonts for the heading, body, and mono, but in case they're not loaded, use the base just load ones. the base ones, right? So we have a good fallback on, let's also refresh. So we have a good fallback, there we go, of fonts. Nice. So what else do we need to do? That's about it. The next thing that we need to do is, I guess, go on with the implementation. And then we'll go back again and do some component changes, right?
Right.
So
the messaging view next.
Yeah. So I'm going to copy paste a lot of stuff now because we
That's
have like,
understandable.
yeah, we have like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But let's see. This is our VStack, right? Then we'll add a new VStack right here. And this is going to be our, basically the chat window. Let me just do this. There we go. This VStack, again, I'm just gonna make it full width, and actually we're gonna make it like at maximum 600 pixels. I don't know. This could be like 400, right? Depends on your design. The height is always going to be like 500 pixels, and I'm doing this in order to make room for scrolling, or like not make room, but like decrease the room so we can do some
So we
scrolling
can
in the
have
chat.
scrolling. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we'll also set the overflow to hidden because we don't want stuff out. We're gonna set the background to white so we can actually see what we have right now.
So how easy is it for people to learn some of these attributes, or like at least discover
Yeah.
which attributes are available for each component?
Discover is simple. You just do control and space, and it's basically TypeScript. So you get all of these, but let me just, yeah, there we go. You get all of the properties that you can implement. And if,
Nice.
as you work with Chakra, you'll also notice that some of these are, actual CSS properties.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So this would be like background is white, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And this would be overflow is hidden. It's pretty much the same in CSS. Yeah. You just write it as a prop. And also the values are, oh, no. I'm going back now. Okay. There we go. All right. So let's see. Here's the button. Here's the, yeah, there we go. We can already see, how the window is starting to look like. Let's see. We have the border radius. We can also change the border radius. And I measured that it's pretty much just like the base. It's similar. It's not exactly the same. And we also want to set the shadow to medium. So these are all values that we can also check on the, on the doc side. But basically what this does is basically base is a certain value in the design system. If we don't override it within our team,
always be the same.
Yeah, it's going to be some default value from Chakra. If we want, we can overwrite and like precisely say base is going to be 16 pixels, right?
Right.
And let's also add the shadow, and there we go. We are pretty much starting to see how the chat is going to look like. So we have that. I'm going to add the second child first. It includes a horizontal stack and an input. So let's also bring those in. Horizontal stack and then input.
So basically every type of component you are using for each page, or you have to like manually import each of them?
Yeah, you have to import. If you're using the horizontal stack and vertical, you need to import it, right?
Yeah.
And there we go. So this looks like nothing compared to the actual design.
Yeah.
But we are going to work on that.
Getting there.
Aside from bringing our own colors and fonts, etc., we can also overwrite the components as well. And to make it more easier to work with, I'm going to create a new directory in the theme directory, and we'll call it components. And inside, I'm going to name this as, let's take the button first, right? So button.ts, and there is a helper type that we can use, the component style config type that we can do export const button is the component style config, and this gives us all of the properties that we can use in order to override the button. So we are going to enter the base style at first because that's where most of the stuff are, right? So I'll set the font weight to normal, because by default the Chakra button has a semi-bold font, but for this design we're gonna use, set the button weight to normal. Now let's actually use the button component from here. I'm going to import the button from component/button. It was unnamed, okay. And in order to use it, let's provide the components array and just use button right here. I'm going to reload, and you should see the font is now normal, right? It's not semi-bold anymore. If we set it to bold, we're gonna see that the font will be bold actually. So
not bold.
yeah, now we have a window of opportunity to actually override the button style. So instead of semi-bold, we actually set the font weight to normal. Then we have the border radius. I'm looking at the other screen right here. We have the border radius, and by default the Chakra buttons are nicely rounded, but in this case this design is not actually that rounded. They're like I think it was like 4 or 6 pixels, so we're going to use small. And check this out. If I zoom in right here, you can see how rounded it is. If I refresh, the border radius will be much smaller, right? So we are
reduced.
Yeah, and we'll set the box sizing. And this is a standard CSS property, it's the box sizing property. We're going to set that to content box. That's because we want to control how the padding looks like later on. And in order for the font size to be changed, because that is not part of the base style, there's also the concept of sizes, right? One button can be a small button or a medium or a large button. And because we have the concept of sizes, the font size would, normally be overridden in the size. Yeah. So in order to access the font size now, we need to overwrite the medium size, which is the default size for the button. And if you want to do this in your project, let's say this is the button doc site. There is a button called theme source. Right now we'll be writing some doc sites for theming for each component, and that's where you can help us as well. But yeah, for now, there is a button called theme source. If you click it, it's going to take you to the actual code, the default theme of the button, right? So if you want to override the font size, this is where you can do that. See, it is defined into these sizes. So medium is default. How do I know? If I scroll down, the button theme has a default props and the size is medium.
Medium, yeah. Color is gray as well.
Exactly, yeah, and the color scheme is gray. And the variant is solid because there's like different variants and stuff. But this is how you can basically navigate for now and figure out, like easily figure out where is the property that I'm trying to overwrite. And actually check out the default theme for every component, right? This is the button. Okay, you need to override the input. Same thing goes. You'll go to the theme source button and you'll check out the theme. Okay, so let's actually change the font size because we want we want smaller font sizes, so we'll set it to small. Refresh the send letters should not be as big. There we go. And this is where we stop. Right, we know that the button is blue, but we're gonna do something later because we actually know we have everything. Yeah, we actually have everything. We can define the defaults. Here's the button. We can say the color scheme. It was gray, right? We're gonna set it to be brand. So we're gonna change it to brand. And this is the button from the actual design. It is the same blue color because brand. We already defined that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's painful to go in every page and set the color scheme to brand every time we want to have a blue button. So we're gonna go back to the theme, and there is a cool thing called with default color scheme. This is a theme extension, and we can go here, and as a second parameter to our theme, we can actually define the default color scheme, right? So the color scheme will be brand, and for what components? for the button component. So now we
I,
can
I was just
save
gonna
this.
ask if it applies to everything, but then it means you can
Yeah,
specify which component always have the brand
exactly.
as default. Nice.
Yeah, so here we go. We can see that the button is blue, even though we didn't actually provide
Yeah,
any props right here, right?
exactly.
And we can also do, for example, also add the same for the input, and we'll see what happens. Maybe nothing will happen. Yeah, nothing will
Yeah, the
happen. The
highlight.
outline, yeah,
Yeah,
the outline when you click on it is actually different. Okay, cool. Now I guess we'll also work on the input because that is again the one other thing that we need to do. But in this case, I'm gonna copy paste it. So input.ts next to the button. We also get the component multi-style config in this case because the input is a multi-part component. Right?
Okay.
There are parts. There's the field and there's the add-on as well. Right? In this case, I'm not actually using the add-on, but I'll just like leave it here.
Just yeah.
So what that
That's fine.
means is when we have the input, we can also have like an icon to the left or the right. We can also have some kind of an add-on as part of the input. So that's why we treat the input to be a multi-style or like multi-part component. And when we're overriding, sorry?
When you say add-on, you mean like say if it was like a phone number input, you're able to add the country code. Is it that kind of add-on?
Yeah, yeah. The add-on can be anything, but
Okay.
it's still like an extra part as
Yeah,
on the input
definitely.
itself. Yeah, that we want to
Definitely.
style accordingly. So that's why we introduced the concept of multi-part components. And since the input
That's
is a
smart.
multi-part component, yeah, and when we want to override a certain property, we need to specify which part are we overriding, right? So pretty much the same. We have the sizes, but instead of directly adding the border radius, we need to say I'm actually overriding the border radius of the field itself, not on the on the
The
add-on.
entire input.
Yeah, and you can also see the parts, and like every component has a different set of parts, and you can also see them from the doc site, from the theme source button. There we go. And what else? There are underscore like these. I'm not sure you can see them.
Yeah, we can see them.
The focus visible and the placeholder, right? So these are pseudo props. And instead of writing, custom styles, for example, when the focus visible property or like event is triggered on the input, this is how you can do it. Here's how you can override the placeholder, right? And these are basically placeholder, and then you provide your CSS inside.
Yeah.
Right. For example, if we want to say hover, right? Let's say we have an input, then we'll do input : hover, and then we provide the styles when the input is hovered, right? We can do so by underscore hover, and that's it. It's a really straightforward. Yeah, it's a straightforward syntax. So if I also, oh wait a minute, I can refresh this, but we're not actually using it, right? So I'm going to add the input here and just add it to the components list. Now I can refresh and we'll see a lot of the things have been changed.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, so we have the corner radius changed, we have the spacing between the buttons, etc.
Yeah.
And awesome. That's pretty much it. Let's just check on the, yeah, we have the blue. There is the border. Yeah. And we also even okay, yeah, we do have some semantic tokens that we actually didn't register, and that's why the border color is set to border. But what does that mean? We need to provide the semantic tokens. So there are when we are talking about colors in design system, you can have your base colors, but then you also want to add some semantic tokens into your basically as part of your design system, right? Because you might want to say, okay, I want to create a certain type of token, and I'm going to name it border, and this is going to be grade 200. It's like an alias, right? But I can use this in a lot of components and screens, And if I want to change it to be darker, to be gray 300, I don't need to like go and change it every time, you know, everywhere I use it. So this is the border and this is the placeholder semantic tokens. As you can see, it's like gray 200 and gray 300, and these colors are actually the ones that we defined here. Here is the gray 200 and here is the gray 300. So if I refresh this, first I'm going to save it and then refresh it, we're going to see that, you know, the border actually changed. It's not black anymore. When we click on it, it's blue. Yeah, it's basically exactly like the design. Yeah. And we also have like a top border, but we can't see that right now, right? Okay, so that's how we can basically define the, you know, we can define a lot of the semantic tokens and colors and radii. You see this radii, this means that I can define custom radius and I'll name it button. And if I set the border radius to button, Chakra will know what that means. So that's about, you know, that's the thing behind the semantic tokens.
Nice.
Awesome. And yeah, let's actually continue. I'm looking at the clock. We don't have much time.
No, we don't. We could use 5 more minutes. So we leave about a few minutes for questions and as well from the audience.
Yeah. So so everybody's like mad at me. I'm just going to copy paste a bunch of stuff right here. There we go. We have a message right here. A lot of stuff. Yeah. I'm gonna walk through everything.
All right.
Yeah, and plus we'll share the link in the chat so everybody can check it out. We have, where is this coming from? We need to have some dummy data right now. I can create a new file, data.ts. We don't want to pull data from the servers, right? I just created a little object that's basically holds the messages. And let's go back to the page right now. We want to import that data. Here's the data. There, we also need to import the stack. I'm using a stack. And there's also just a stack as well. Stack is like, it's the same as vertical stack or horizontal stack. It just doesn't have the
default alignment.
It doesn't have the default direction set. So I can like set it to be the column reverse in this case, but it also supports spacing.
Nice.
Now we need to add the component. Where do we add the component? Let's add it at the top level right here. Right, components. And this is where we'll put the, what was it? The message component. Now the message component is this one, sorry. The whole block right here. Right, and the message component contains
the name, the time, and the message itself.
Yes, and I decided to make the chat bubble as a separate component, right?
Oh, okay.
So there we go. We have some stuff right here. There's the chat bubble. Let's also create the chat bubble. I'm sorry that I'm rushing into this, but I wanted to make something good, but then also make it work. And we also have an icon, as you can see, that we need to create, and that is a little PDF icon thingy. Okay, let me just like zoom out so I can create a new directory, icons, and I'll zoom in back again. Icons, there we go. I just need an index.tsx, so that's how I built this. There we go.
So you have the SVG file in the index.
Yeah. Okay. Icons, is this right? Yes, it is. Okay. Chat bubble is, I think we need to just reload and see. Oh, right. I don't actually import the message component into the app, right? We are using it here.
Yeah.
Just also like import the message from jump once, yell components, and messages inside. Okay. There's the chat. Ta-da!
That's a huge jump.
It was a huge jump, yeah, definitely. But yeah, let's actually see what's happening. We also have one more feature. I hope we have time. We have like 5 minutes left to actually implement the dark mode switcher. But what are we interested in? Let's see the button, right? I am basically changing the styles depending on who sends the message. Is it Catherine Murphy, in this case is the recipient, or is it me, which in this case is the sender? So I have the concept of sender and recipient message, and that's how I also change the alignment of the actual message to be the flex start or the flex end, right? So for example, if it's my message, it's going to be on the right side. If it's from the recipient, it's going to be on the left side, right?
Right.
We have an image. There is an image that you can import from Chakra UI as well. That's how we set the source. It's rounded, it's set to full. That's why we can see the actual avatar as a circle. If we don't add that and reload, it's going to be a square. So that's how we can make circular images. What else is here? And there is the chat bubble. And inside of the chat bubble, we're basically defining two bubbles. We have the text bubble and we also have the file bubble. And based on the message type, if it's text, then I'm returning text bubble. Otherwise, I'm returning file bubble, right? And in the file bubble, as you can see, the difference is that the background is different. You know, it's filled when it's a text. It's an outlined when it's when it's basically a file. And I'm also changing the top right radius and top left radius based on if it's from the, for example, it's from the sender, then the top right is going to be 0. Otherwise, we won't change it. And the other way around for this case right here when we have from the recipient. But basically, that's pretty much it. And now let's actually go and implement dark mode so you can see how easy it is to implement dark mode. There is a thing called a hook, called use color mode. And we can use that to obtain the color mode and actually obtain the toggle color mode value. So I'm going to scroll at the bottom right here, and we should have a little space to add a little button, and we can put that here, right? Button on click, we'll just pass the toggle color mode method, and we can also even like use the color mode. If it's set to dark, we can set the title, like the label of the button, to switch to light, or let's just say light, otherwise dark. So if I refresh this, we'll see a little button at the bottom right here. There we go. We can see that it's set to dark. I can bring back like the color. I can set the color scheme to gray. I can even add icons, like we can do left icon, but I don't have any icons right now in this project. In the project that I'm going to share, there is an icon, so you can see. But yeah, this is what we get. Here is the dark button. Now if we click on it, we'll see that something changed, but not a lot of things.
Yeah, right? I think just the button itself.
Yeah, only the button itself changed, and the actual background. Now it's like darker.
Nice. Yeah.
And this is a lighter background. Yeah. So in order to do that, this has to do with the semantic tokens that we have defined. So if you go back to the theme, let's find them here.
Yeah.
I'm going to replace these with some other values. So right now we have the key border and the value grade 200, the key placeholder, the value grade 300, but we can also do border and then say that the default is grade 200, but then on dark mode is going to be grade 600. Right?
Yeah, so
and basically,
special values for dark mode. Nice.
Exactly. We can do special values for dark mode and light mode. And I think we also had one more space. There we go. And that is for this background, basically, of the chat. If we scroll up, we can say that the background that we're setting is set to white, right? Let me just save, reload, and you'll see what happens. There we go. Now everything is in dark mode. Now it's in light mode, but it doesn't look good. Why? Because the background is still white. So in order to change that, we can say, okay, I'm going to provide some custom dark styles. And when we are in dark mode, the background is actually going to be gray 800, like a darker shade of gray. Now let's refresh and see how it looks like. There we go.
She's like
This is
Twitter.
dark mode. Yeah, this is light mode.
That is so good.
Yeah. And that's Chakra UI. This is the example that I wanted to show.
Oh, right on time as well.
Yeah. We got 5 minutes for questions and
Oh yeah, that's amazing. I think before I ask any question personally, I would like to open up to the audience if anyone has any questions from the audience. I think this has been a very good opportunity to see what Chakra UI is capable of.
Lazar's
Feels like you're cheating, Lazar. I mean, I'm currently building a project using Chakra UI, and I think the thing that stood out for me initially was also deciding how best to separate my components, which is like the team components and the actual application components. So, how would you recommend moving forward with like, would I say separation of concern? But in cases where I want to build UI components, but they're like very functional, so to say, do I separate them into like the team folder, or do I like actually build out my own special, components directory to maintain my components?
well, depending on like what you're trying to achieve, right? For example, if
Yeah.
you're creating your own component library on top of Chakra UI, you can also do that. We've seen it, other frameworks that spur up on top of Chakra UI. You can even build like a monorepo structure that you define your components and then you can like publish them and just use them. You can go even to that length of separating them. If not, you can just, use them in a folder, like place them here, or maybe it's like a monorepo, but it's a different, it's a different package,
Yeah.
not necessarily being published on npm, but you can like pull those components from there. But yeah, basically you can do anything, either monorepo
Awesome.
or a published package, or within the same, project.
Cool. We have a question from Sibre. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. The CSS from the props and theme, is it built on runtime or build time?
Yeah, this one is built on runtime because we're using emotion. So every time we write a style prop like width or height, we're just passing that to emotion. So emotion takes care of that. And since we're using emotion, yes, it happens on the runtime. And that's how all of these are compiled into a single class. I'm not sure if it's gonna be okay, but I'm gonna like try to inspect this.
Yeah, you can.
There we go. So you see the class?
Mm-hmm.
This is our button. There's the Chakra button class that brings the defaults, and there's the CSS K2XOCM. And this is a custom class that contains everything that we've written, but it's just in CSS. Here's the color, here is the background. As you remember, we set that to be the brand 500 based on the color scheme, right? There is the border radius set to small. There is the font weight set to normal. And yeah, that's pretty much what happens under the hood. You get CSS compiled for you, and then this class is being set to the button itself. So it's not like one by one, right? For example, we don't set the colors.
Right.
It's like a single class that only has color equals white.
No.
Emotion actually compiles everything into one class, so you have only one class.
That makes sense. Thank you so much, Lazar.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if there are any more questions from the audience. I do know we are pressed for time as well. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. I do hope everyone in the audience had as much fun and learned as much as I did. I'm definitely going to try. I am already using Chakra in the project, but this just gave me like another insight into how I can, make use of the theming, the components, the semantic tokens, and all of those stuff. And I am looking forward to it. So yeah, I don't know if you have any final messages from us. Oktoberfest issues, anything like that from Chakra UI. Just give us like a goodbye message. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. By the way, we started the Hacktoberfest, sorry. We
Right.
started the Hacktoberfest movement. We do have some issues created. I'm actively creating them like as I find time. But yeah, we can share the link into the chat. So you can check out. Ace, did you already send the link or not?
No, not yet. I can share that now as well. We do have Oktoberfest issues from Chakra UI. I think I can
Yeah.
send that across to our channels. So anyone interested in also contributing to Chakra UI this month of October 1st, please do so. You can also contribute to Sandpack as well. So yeah, thank everyone for stopping by. It's been amazing. Do
Sweet.
take care.
Thanks, Ace.
Bye.
Take care.